Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Real Life Reddells. My name is Bryce Reddell, and today we are going to show off some more of our client projects. Today we are going to do another kind of recap video. I encourage you to subscribe to our channel. We do a lot of different things. We've got a very ADHD family. And so we've got a variety of passions and interests that we share as a family. We do a lot of fun and crazy things. Our kids are hilarious. Our kids are the reason we started this whole channel. All right, so we have been insanely busy. This month, the entire month of October was just insane. I mean, there's no other word for it. Usually May and December are really crazy for us. October has put them both to shame. We had a death in the family. My stepmother passed away. We had kind of an alumni reunion that my wife was in charge of. We've had so many client and customer projects. It's been wonderful. What is going on with the light? It's adjusting, doing weird things. Anyway, we've had so many customer projects. It's been a huge blessing, and it has definitely kept us busy. We also had some major storms blow through, which we had intended to do a video showing the progress of this building, because we're actually in the process of doubling the size of this workshop. The front wall of this building, the new front wall of this building, was literally picked up, thrown across, and shattered all the windows, and it was nuts. We hadn't finished putting a roof on it or anything. It was just sheer force. Shattered 3 different windows. We were originally going to have 6 windows across front. Now we're just going to do 2 because we can't have an odd number. We like symmetry here. Anyway, so for today's episode, we're going to take you through some of the cooler projects we've done over the last month or so, from retaining walls to a screened-in patio to painting a wraparound porch, and some things that you'll want to pay attention to if you've got projects that you're going to be doing yourself. We're not going to go into the full breakdown of everything that's required for these, just kind of give it an overview of how we did it, and hopefully just kind of inspire you guys to do some projects of your own. Today we are building a retaining wall. You get 6 pallets of this retaining wall block. Each block is 47 pounds. 47 pounds. 48 blocks come on a pallet, which, if I did my math correctly, I think it's either 2150 or 2250. I think it's 2,250 pounds for 1 pallet of block. And anyway, so while I'm waiting for them to find a spotter and get this pallet loaded on the trailer for me, we're getting 2 pallets right now, a pallet of block and then a pallet of sand. So this is probably going to take a little while. So, story time. So, we have been working since Friday at a vet clinic, redoing sheetrock in the ceiling, doing insulation, all that stuff. And so, because it's right outside their surgery room, and because it's over their recovery area and all that, and because it's a very high trafficked area, we're not working while they're open. At least we haven't been. We're going to today because all I have to do is paint things where I don't have to have a lot of equipment out in the way. I finished the hallway last night, but Monday night and then last night, Tuesday night, I've gone up there about 5 when they're getting ready to close and started setting up, and then when they close at 5:30, start working. Problem is, about 8 o'clock, strange things start happening at that vet clinic. Like the first night I was there, Monday night, doors were, at least the sound of doors opening and closing at the other end of the building, which is very freaky. And then there were sounds of doors slamming on my end of the building. And I knew nobody was there because the doors were locked, because I locked them. So I stayed till about 11 o'clock Monday night. And then it just got, when things started slamming, I just got a little too freaked out. Now, the reason I knew no people were there is because if anybody walked through The kennel area, there's a recovery area that has kennels where I'm working, and then there's a room right next to us, several rooms actually, filled with kennels, and those dogs bark anytime somebody walks through that room, like for 5 minutes. So you would know if somebody was there. And so when I started hearing slamming, I'm like, okay, I'm done. So I made it till 11 o'clock Monday night. Then last night, and I'd already told the vet and some other people, I'm like, okay, you got issues with this building. It's freaky. And the vet said his wife swears it's haunted because she goes up there to do the books sometimes and she hears the same things. I'm like, mm-hmm. Now, there's settling and there's creaking, and then there's the sounds of doors opening and closing, like the creak and then the click, click, and then the slam and all those kind of things. I'm just like, yeah. So last night, I go up there and I take my son with me. Jameson went up there. So we went up there right at 5. And that's when I finished some of the prep work and then painted the ceiling. We did popcorn and all that kind of stuff. By the way, I hate popcorn ceilings. I hate putting them on. I hate taking them off. Anyway, that's just my tiny little freebie. So I take him home about 7. I guess it was 7:30. And then I turn around and go back out there because that way the popcorn had time to dry so that I could paint. So I get back out there and I start painting probably about 7:45. By the time I got to, I think it was 8:30 when I left. It may have been 9. I don't even remember. I could look on my text messages because I texted Janet. I kept hearing noises, and I swore it sounded like somebody was whistling and typing on a keyboard. And I walked through the building down to where the offices were and everything, trying to find who was in the building working. There were no lights on. There were no people sitting, whistling, typing on computers. So that kind of freaked me out a little bit. And it was not windy outside, so that was not the source of the whistling. Anyway, so that was fine. Then I started hearing the door sounds. And I'm like, okay, well, nobody was here last night when the door sounds were happening. Nobody's here tonight. Because I'm pretty brave. So if I hear a door, I will go look for the door. I'm one of those stupid white people that dies in horror movies. You know, after the whistling and the keyboard typing and the doors opening and closing, I guess it was probably about 8:15, 8:30. I had finished out in the hallways and I was going into their little recovery room, which is a very small kenneled area. And so I go in there and I get my scaffolding set up where I need it. And my foot touched the bottom level of that scaffold. And I was about to step up there. And a bucket and a broom or a mop, something got knocked over at the other end of the building. It was loud, it bounced a couple of times, and I just waited. I just froze. Because I was waiting to hear somebody pick it up or say something like, oh, dang it. You know, something like that. Nothing. And I said, hey, you all right in there? Nothing. I was like, I'm not crazy about this. So I texted my wife. I said, I am royally freaked out right now because there's nobody here, and yet somehow a bucket got knocked over at the other end of the building. And she's like, well, just come home. You don't need to be there anymore. I was like, I am in complete agreement with you. So I didn't do much cleaning up. I didn't do much straightening up. I made it where it was, they'd walk in and not scream in the morning. And I got my stuff and I went home. And I texted the vet and told him what had happened. And he texted back, LOL. He said, I told you, his wife swears it's haunted. I'm like, I don't freak out easily, but I'm inclined to agree with her. Each of those blocks weighs 47 pounds. There's 48 on that pallet. It's got 2 axles, each capable of 3,500. So, just waiting on them to load up. Today, I'm gonna go do this retaining wall. I'm gonna try to get the first row of it done this morning. Try to go get another pallet of block, and that way tomorrow I can just hit the ground running, because it goes very fast. Once you've got the first row in and it's all leveled, then it's just stacking after that. The majority of the work is digging out the footing for this thing. Okay. That is one heck of a project, and it's gonna go right to that crepe myrtle. So I've got more blocks up on the porch, more blocks here, and a couple more here. So first thing tomorrow morning, I'm gonna come out here and finish that. Then the guy is coming to, quote, backfilling all of that with dirt and filling up what used to be a pseudo above ground swimming pool here. So the stairs are my favorite. That's awesome. So I've got capstones that I'm going to cut to fit to cover those curves. And then right there, I'll cut another one of those blocks into two little angled chunks to fill in that little gap. But we'll have capstones all along the top and down the taper over there, all along the top. And this one is actually ending up tapering up over here. It may still taper down at the end, but we haven't gotten that far yet. Not bad. It's a huge project. I am exhausted, soaked in sweat, and I am quitting for the day because A, it's dark, and B, there is a whole bunch of horseflies right here. Yeah, they bite. One tried to bite me through my shirt, and I'm sure the neighbors got a good show out of it because I was dancing and screaming and colorful words, family-friendly colorful words, but still colorful words. So, soaked in sweat. That's me. I mean, you could wring me out. Not bad. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous project. So, all right. Good night from East Texas and the Piney Woods. Guess what? It's Tuesday, October 15th. And it's still raining. Okay, so today we are headed out to Fairplay. It's bad when you can't remember where you're going. I'm about to grab a quick bite to eat for breakfast. I've got tools loaded up. I've got 3 rolls of 8 foot by 25 foot charcoal fiberglass screen. So we are gonna basically create a screened-in patio today. Now, to be fair, it's already a screened-in patio, or at least it used to be. And a dog decided it wanted into that patio, so it tore up all the screen. That dog is no longer with us, meaning this is years ago. And so the customer has asked us to come out, tear off all the old ripped up fabric, throw that out, and then install a new screen. So got air compressor, got a pneumatic nailer, got a pneumatic stapler, and a pneumatic nailer. Anyway, so we're gonna grab breakfast and then head out there and take care of that. So there we go.
Number 9 here. I was about to pet a baby cow.
No, you are. The baby cow ran away from you. That's mud.
Oh.
You failed. Get back in the truck.
Oh.
Hi, puppy. It's like yin and yang.
Whoa! Ash! What are you doing?
Lucy, what do you think? Is that your new friend? Lucy, come here. Lucy.
Lucy!
Lucy, come.
No, Lucy, get back here. Hi.
Good girl.
This is...
All right, I have literally gotten all 3 of those sections. I just have to put all this trim back on and this trim, which will go very quickly. And then the only thing left is to replace the screen in the door and hang them. So I'm hurrying. Okay, it is freezing cold and raining. We did it. Jameson missed school today because we were supposed to leave a couple hours ago to go to Belton to help my dad clean up the house after my stepmom passed away. But we got it done. That is gorgeous. So that is your newly screened in patio. And that was fun. So I got both screen doors redone. Whew. We're having to run real quick out to Lake Merval, which is where Janet's family has a lake house. And apparently with all this rain, there's a leak in the roof. So I'm gonna go help my father-in-law patch that real quick, and then we're gonna get loaded up, get all the tools out of my truck, get loaded up with luggage, and we'll be out of here. So, woohoo, another project in the books. Nothing like pushing it to the limit. Pulling into Marshall, Texas. It says 1 mile to go, 1 mile to empty. It's gonna switch to 0 any second. And I've got an 18-wheeler in front of me slowing down. I hate when that happens. 0! Will we make it? Not if this guy stops in front of me. Come on, dude. There's 2 gas stations. We'll go for Valero. Yay! Okay, we're set. Hey guys, all right, it is a Thursday morning in October. I think it's the 17th. Anyway, it's a beautiful fall morning. It's a little too beautiful and a little too fall for me to be pressure washing right now, but I am. Anyway, I wanted to show y'all something real quick. So we are out here to paint this beautiful wraparound porch. Originally, we thought we were going to paint the whole thing and have to cover up all that stained tongue and groove ceiling. But instead, all we're doing is the posts and then this hardy siding down below.
And I wanted to show you something because we're going around and pressure washing just to clean everything off, because it's got a lot of age to it, a lot of gray marks and streaks and all that kind of stuff, which interestingly enough are not coming off with the pressure wash, which is fine because all the pressure washing is doing is getting the oils and dirt off so that the new paint can make a clean bond. Speaking of clean bonds, I want to show you this. So right here, we've done these panels. They did all right. Not much of the paint came off. None of this stuff was primed. You can tell because when the paint chips come off, it's gray all the way through. There's no primer underneath it. But I wanted to show you, anytime you're painting any kind of surface, the reason you want to make sure it's clean and there's no oils or anything is because if you don't, that happens. Now, I didn't scrape at all. All I did was the pressure washer. And this is just a little handheld pressure washer. I think it's like 1600 PSI. So it's not even a gas-powered one that goes 2,000, 3,000 PSI. But that stuff just sprayed right off. And the reason for that is it was never completely bonded to that hardy siding, whether it was dirt or whether it was oil, whatever the reason. But I want to show you, this is all painted the same way. It held on some of them. And the reason it did is because these areas, for whatever reason, those sections weren't as oily or as dirty as the others. Anyway, we're out here, we're gonna paint all these posts and this siding down below. They used to have rails all along here, and I think you can still see where the handrails were down at the bottom and up there. We took all the caulk off yesterday, sanded that, and then put wood filler inside of it. So we're gonna go over with the orbital sander here in a minute and just smooth that out completely. And then the rest of the day will be spent painting this. And then I'll show you here in a minute, we're gonna replace some bricks on a column. And we get a lot of questions about this. We've had several customers contact us, whether it was a mailbox or a garage column or something that got hit by a car. How do you fix them? When people want us to rebuild their mailboxes, we tell them it's probably more expensive than they want it to be. Because if we're gonna use their exact same bricks, we have to grind all the mortar off of them, and it's time intensive. But I'll show you a trick over here because this is a painted brick house. It's actually pretty simple. So we'll show you that here in a minute. All right, so real quick, I mentioned the pressure washer a minute ago. You know, everybody thinks, oh, you gotta have this really high-powered, big gas-powered pressure washer. For some jobs, absolutely you do. If you're trying to pressure wash a driveway and basically get everything off of it, you'd probably want a little bit higher power. But when you're dealing with wood, which is a lot of what I do, as far as decks and siding, pretty much anything over about 1800 PSI will rip the wood. That's what we use this for, and it works great. It's very, very lightweight. Everything's on it. Now, I do have a special tip that did not come with it that just makes it easier for stripping things off of wood and paint, those kind of things. But anyway, so that's that one. This one actually came from Walmart, and the only reason I got it was because I was in a hurry and my old pressure washer died out at that boat dock job. So I didn't have time to run 30, 40 minutes to the nearest Lowe's. So I just came into town, 15-minute drive, and got this at Walmart. There are a bunch of different models like this. They're all under $100. I think this one was like $88, $89. I saw one at Lowe's yesterday. It was $99. So it's a good, like I said, 1600 PSI, pounds per square inch. And this is the paint we're using because it is everything all in one. So primer, exterior, weather grade paint, all of that. So, and we're gonna be using Sherwin-Williams Extra White because that's what that color is. Which is funny because when I brought out the swatch booklet with all the color samples, that was not the brightest white, but it's extra white. Oh, and then this is also one of our new toys. I think it was $96, but it is a foldable, collapsible scaffold. It's only 4 feet high instead of the normal 8 feet that you get with scaffolds. Some of them are 6 feet, some of them are 8 feet, just depends. It is not stackable, but these platforms snap off, can go on the different levels, and then there's hooks here on the side So you can put these two platforms, it's got holes right there that slide onto these hooks. It all collapses. It's got pins and springs inside that bar, so it just accordions and folds flat. And it's very lightweight. You can throw it in the back of a truck, back of a car. And it's great for job sites like this because you can make shelves out of it and store your stuff. I left this stuff here overnight, and they have dogs that run around in the yard here, so I just didn't want anything getting chewed up, or tape or sanding pads, because a lot of dogs like the texture. I just put all that stuff up here and kept it safe. So anyway, everything's pressure washed. I'm starting to clean up just a little bit so that I can go start the bricks, and then I'll come back and paint this. Okay, so I told you I would show you an easy way to fix bricks. So most houses, if you have a brick home, come with a stack of extra bricks, which in this case are sitting out there in the woods. So we only needed 9. This is number 9 right here, so I'm gonna have to cut that out. I take it back, it's this one that I'm gonna have to cut out. It's broken right on the edge. It should stick out to there. So anyway, just use a 7-inch grinder. You could use a 4-inch grinder, but I like 7-inch because even with the guard on, it'll still go most of the way through the mortar to the back side of that brick. This is an instance where basically they just pulled too far forward. They thought they were pulling in the garage and they missed, and they hit the brick pillar. So, got most of it carved out. I've got to get that piece out. I've got to get this broken one out, but I think on this one, since it comes so far over, I'm gonna hold off on this until I get that left edge done. I'm basically gonna go all the way up, give it some support, take this one out after I've got everything kind of up and around it. That way it's not so much weight just sitting on that one opening, because there's only half a brick here. Granted, this has all got reinforcement to that OSB backer inside there, but still I don't want to take any chances. So basically just cut the mortar out between the bricks, and then use the little pry bar and some elbow grease and pulled out the broken chunks. So we're going to salvage what we can, specifically kind of these end pieces, these little squares, and any full bricks that are in there. We'll scrape them with a rub brick, and then we've got some mortar that we're going to mix up, and we'll put all that back in there. And then I've got mortar repair, which comes in a caulk tube, that we will, instead of doing a grout bag and dealing with all that, we're just going to do basically the mortar repair to do the vertical lines on this. So anyway, here we go. Okay, so bricks. I've already got 4 of them that are these corner bricks, but basically all I do, anywhere where you see a grout line, a mortar line I should say, I just lightly tap on that until that crack gets bigger, and then it cleans off pretty easily. Now they used some expanding foam to fill this in because it's been here a couple of years. So anything that's got the expanding foam on it, we can either use a rub brick, which does a pretty good job, or you can use a grinder or sandpaper to scrape it off. In this case, it's all going to get painted white, so it doesn't really matter. So I've got just a small bag of mortar mix. I've got a mixing drill bit. Now you can use all different kinds of paddle mixers, but this one, it works pretty well. So, and then a trowel, just a cheap one, just to put a line on there. And then later when I come back to do the smooth mortar lines, I'll use one of these little, what do you call this, brick joiner. So, and this specific one is 3/8 and then a 1/2 inch. So each end is a different width. So, and then I've got my old trusty corded drill to do the mixing. If you try to use a battery powered one, it dies pretty fast. Even these, if you're mixing concrete with it, it'll bind up the motor and it'll burn it out pretty quickly. So anyway, so I've got everything pretty well cleaned up. Now I'm gonna mix some mortar and get in here and start being a brick mason. for a patch job, it was pretty decent. So I've got mortar repair from Quikrete. Comes in a tube with kind of a squared end. I'm gonna put that in all of those mortar lines, and then as soon as that dries, we will paint this whole thing to match. And then there's a couple other little spots that we've got to do some touch-up paint with. So, all right, another job in the books. So all of these bottom sections were this gunmetal gray, and the posts, they had rails in between them. And so one of our jobs is to come out here and sand off where the rails have been attached at the bottom and the top here, and fill those in with wood filler, and then sand it and paint it. So we originally thought we were gonna have to cover up. You can see the stained tongue and groove ceiling up inside there. We originally thought we were gonna have to cover all that up and cover up all the fans and the windows, and put, you know, ram board over the floors. But the customer decided just to paint the posts, these columns, and these bottom sections of hardy. Now you can see it's kind of gray at the very, very bottom. It's because that goes down, I don't know, another 3 inches or so there. And this is most of the time covered up with mulch. So all we did was basically a brush stroke across that bottom one, because most of that board is covered up by dirt and by mulch. So anyway, this is the same house where we did the brick. So I think it turned out gorgeous. It's very nice. Let's look at the brick real quick. Okay, so there's the aftermath of the brick project. So not bad at all. And like I pointed out, we painted the brick, the chip out from where they had installed those lights. Actually, it was that one. Yeah, that one. So, I mean, you can kind of tell where the new brick is. We tried to dry brush and blend, painted all of that vertical trim board. Went in and used cement caulk, which is a gray, and then basically filled in that whole gap that was there. There were a couple of little spots like down here where it was such a big cavity that cement caulk just kind of fell in, and it created a ledge, fortunately. And so today we just came back with exterior caulk and finished it out. But the homeowner's first thing was, oh, thank God it's straight. For 4 years we've had to hide that spot. So no more hiding that spot. It's blended. So, all right, on to the next project.
All right, so as you can see, we do a lot of different kinds of projects, and we've got a lot going on here at the homestead as well, as far as working on our yard, working on this workshop and trying to finish it. We've got a storage building that's moved. It's been 3 different places in our yard in the last 3 or 4 years. 2 different places in the last 6 months. That one was fun. Anyway, again, if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please hit that subscribe button. It does help us out as far as just spreading the word about some of our services that we do. Even if you are not in our service area, for us to be able to travel and take care of your projects, sharing it, it'll show up on more and more people's pages as recommendation, and it'll help us build our business. So it'll be a blessing to us regardless. So I invite you to share some of these videos. If you know somebody who's doing some projects, we've got a ton of other project videos. We've got a ton of videos about living with autism and ADHD and OCD and anxiety. There's all kinds of fun things going on in our family. It keeps life interesting and exciting. Give this video a like. Like I said, please feel free to leave comments. We do read them. We do respond as much as we can. If you just leave a comment saying hi, we may or may not say hi, but if you leave questions or suggestions or anything like that, we will engage and respond to those. So thanks for watching. Hope you all have a great day. We'll see you next time.